So the mainstream media is very, very upset that not enough women are in the MCU new Avengers movie as well. So they claim that people are angry. They're upset that there aren't any female leads in the in Doomsday or major female characters as well. Of course, there are two noble characters missing. Um, Doctor Strange and Spider Man, which I find pretty funny. But the thing is, they're angry over the fact that Brie Larson isn't in this movie. Yes, so Brie Larson hasn't really been in any movie since 2023. After the string of flops that she has been in, okay, Brie Larson has kind of fallen into just no one talks about it anymore, and I think it'd be the same thing of the other two Marvel character cast. Like that Marvel's movie, I think probably ruined a lot of a lot of careers because of how much of a failure it is. Okay, it's gonna be the same thing with Snow White, but these people are still thinking like this is some super popular thing that woke female-led movies, girl boss movies, whatever you want to call them, are this super popular thing that everybody wanted to see. When in reality, it isn't. Disney is just going back to what makes money. What makes money? Okay, and they saw that last year. Okay, what makes money? They did have two female-led movies last year. One was Moana 2, which again is a Disney princess movie. It's a sequel to a popular Disney princess movie. Because I think Moana is a Disney princess movie. V. I'm not too sure though, but I think it's a Disney princess movie. So of course the main character, and it's based off the Polynesian culture. So the Polynesians, they love to sail and go to other places. I actually like the first Moana movie. The Polynesian culture is kind of underrated and underrepresented in media. They always talk about how we want diversity in media and culture, but there's still tons of underrepresented regions and cultures that could definitely get their own movies. For example, we don't really have a movie based around Iran. I know we have a Disney princess story based around the Arabian culture, but we don't really have a Persian one. Considering the fact that Persians and slash Iranians are much more culturally different than Arabian peoples, I think a Disney princess movie set in the Persian Empire, would make a lot of sense. Same thing. I know they have represented Rome a lot and Persia. I know, but Persia didn't really ever get much representation in Disney as well here. And of course, there's several like other cultures that could be represented. For example, Latin America, because you have that Enchanto movie, but is Enchanto really a Disney princess movie? But what about like Brazil? Like I know Disney technically owns Rio, but there's tons of cultures that could be represented, and I know they'll try to represent more and more cultures and the more recent Disney princess movies and European fairy tales. Because again, there's fairy tales from all over the world. I really think they should make a Japanese princess movie and just make it inspired by and make it a 2D anime movie. But Disney would never do that. Disney would never do an anime movie. But it would be pretty cool if they did do an anime princess movie. And of course, they would have the waifu culture around it. That would be pretty funny. But now we're done talking about that. The fact that these people are still begging for this. So basically, why does Hollywood just want to change what works? The problem is, Hollywood doesn't seem to understand that people do not like change. People do not like when you change things, as well. People really do not like race swaps and gender swaps as well. Okay, as well. For example, there's a whole meme. DC makes Blue Beetle, and they find hey, Mexico finally gets a superhero. Oh, wait, you guys are still watching Dragon Ball Z instead of watching Blue Beetle. Blue Beetle is really about your culture, and then you guys are still watching Dragon Ball Z. And just Dragon Ball Z. I think the thing is that Dragon Ball Z versus Blue Beetle. Dragon Ball Z has universal appeal. Anyone of any background, culture, or language can like Goku. Okay, Goku was created by a Japanese, writer, yeah, Akira Toriyama, Rip Toriyama, because he died, I think, last year. Unfortunately, But Dragon Ball Z has universal appeal. That's the reason why Dragon Ball Z is now popular everywhere. Okay, another character of universal appeal is Mario. Okay, why has Mario been one of the most successful game franchise in history? Mario's cast, Miyamoto basically said that Mario's cast is basically created for universal appeal. Everyone can enjoy Mario. Okay, anyone can enjoy Mario. Kids, adults, old people, women, men, Hispanic, black, white, Asian. Anyone can enjoy Mario. The reason why people do not like Blue Beetle is one, probably I heard it wasn't a very good movie. Two, there were like seeds and wines that people didn't like from the movie. And three, it's a DCEU movie. And the DCEU is garbage. And four, there was still no interest in the movie as well. Also, the fact that, The Sound of Freedom, which is a movie against child trafficking, that movie made more money than Blue Beetle, really shows you that Hollywood needs to really stop pandering towards certain cultures and just go back to making movies of universal appeal, for crying out loud. Okay, let's go back to the example of Dragon Ball and Mario again. Dragon Ball and Mario have universal appeal. That's the reason why Mario and Dragon Ball was so successful. Same thing with Transformers as well. Transformers was made so anyone could get into it. You didn't have to be a certain race or a certain ethnicity to like it. The problem with a character, even like Black Panther, is that Black Panther mostly appeals towards people from Africa or of African descent. It's very hard for people who are not of that background to really like Black Panther. I almost said something else, but I almost said the K-pop girl group, but yeah. The problem is Hollywood doesn't seem, they want to change things to have universal appeal. Okay, like they want to change the fact that most of the most popular IPs were made by men. Of course, there were several IPs that were made by women that were very popular, like Harry Potter, and of course the Hunger Games. But most of the most famous writers of all time, as well here. And yes, it is, to somewhat quote unquote empowering to see women take more active roles in the cultural space. But the thing is, the Hollywood is making it inorganic, and most of these people are just not very good writers. Okay, let's look at the second Doctor Strange movie versus the first Doctor Strange movie, and see, which one is a better movie, as well. And Hollywood is just, they really believe that DEI is the future. They really want to try to fight, and they're losing the culture war. It's clear they're losing the culture war. I think the most recent example of them losing the culture war is Snow White. Came out a week ago, and it didn't even open the $50 million domestically. Okay. And there's a possibility the movie might not even make $100 million domestically, which would be pretty embarrassing as well. Very similar to the Marvels. But the fact that they're this upset, the media and of course the woke are this upset that they're losing. Okay, the reason why these characters does, like, She-Hulk and Miss Marvel, and of course Brie Larson's Captain Marvel, and of course America Chavez and these young Avengers characters, and some of these side characters, because either one, the Disney Plus shows are not doing too well, and two, people just really don't care about these characters. But Disney still wants to go on and just think, hey, let's make all these minor characters main characters, okay, without actually developing and fleshing them out. Oh, why are these characters so unpopular? Oh, we don't know how to flesh these characters out because, and during the 2010s, they tried to make all these new characters. And yes, I do think it's important to make new characters in a ongoing universe like Marvel. Okay, like there's always going to be new superheroes that are going to want to join the Avengers. Like some of these characters, like Kate Bishop could have easily just been in a sidecock for Hawkeye. Like, Heck, they could have introduced her in the original Marvel shows and yeah, Marvel movies. Yes, he probably would have been one of the least popular characters. As Hawkeye already is like the least popular Avenger already. But again, making a female version of Hawkeye outside of certain communities, like the waifu community and the Alpha 34 community, these characters are not really too popular. Those are the only communities that a lot of these characters kind of appeal towards, like, as well here. For example, Squirrel Girl wasn't a very popular character until they ported her to Marvel Rivals. Then all of a sudden, everybody liked her as well. And I do think that even characters like Miss Marvel, which I know a lot of people just hate her for no reason, I do think it is possible to make those characters work like Kate Bishop and Miss Marvel, but you cannot use those characters to replace already existing characters. You have to make them their own character. Kind of like Miles Morales. Okay, a lot of people did not like Miles Morales when he was first come out, but they eventually, with Spider-Verse, fleshed him out into his own character in that movie. So of course, people like him now. Same thing with Spider-Gwen. Okay, because they did a pretty good job and realizing, hey, Miles Morales and Peter Parker are two separate people. Miles Morales is not here to replace Peter, neither is Spider-Gwen. Okay, the problem with characters like Kate Bishop is that they want to put her in to replace Hawkeye, which I know it's still already a pretty unpopular character, but, you know, I think there's easy ways to fix these characters that are pretty unpopular, 100% as well. You could either make them like Robin from the Batman series, which I know is not really the best outcome, as Robin is not the most popular character, but have them start out like that. Okay, they are basically the sidekick to a more popular superhero. That's a very easy way to write these characters into the story. Okay, for example, Bull. I know a lot of people do not like the idea of Falcon being Captain America, but the whole point is at the end of the movie, I find kind of funny that everybody forgot at the end of Endgame that Captain America said, "Hey, if you want to be Captain America, Falcon, you can," and everybody now all of a sudden doesn't like the new. And again, it is mostly Disney's fault because Disney's production quality of the MCU has gone down significantly. The writing competency has gone down significantly. I think if they had confident writers and they actually made them like the old MCU movies, Captain America Brave New World would have probably been pretty successful. But the problem is, the modern MCU is just terrible, poorly written mess that I think is going to be very hard to fix without a total reboot of them. If they want to introduce these characters, there's as well that are so-called super unpopular. But again, there was a group of characters before that were super unpopular but became popular because the MCU did it correctly, the Guardians of the Galaxy, because nobody knew who the Guardians of the Galaxy were, but they became characters that everybody knows and loves. I think you can do the same thing with characters like Miss Marvel or Kate Bishop or heck, even Ironheart. Considering the fact that they were able to do this with Miles Morales. I know I think the biggest problem of Ironheart is the fact that War Machine already exists. Because you already technically have Black Captain America. It's War Machine, who kind of already is sidelined in the MCU already. It is kind of like the sidekick to Iron Man himself, Tony Stark himself. And I think the thing is, with Ironheart, they should definitely try to make her own character and not just black female Iron Man. I think that's the problem of these new characters. Is you don't really give these characters their own identity. You just, here is, female Wolverine, or here is female Deadpool, or here is, Black Captain America. Okay, you actually have to make these characters, and I think these people just don't. I think the mainstream media just doesn't understand this. You have to actually make these characters, and a lot of the modern Marvel characters are just not that good. And that's why you saw a lot of newer Marvel movies that's not too well. It's not just Marvel. You have Disney as a whole, okay, and also the DCEU as well, okay. It's just over the past 5 years, Hollywood has definitely declined in the quality of movies and TV shows. I'm not really too excited for Avengers Doomsday. Like, I'm not really too excited for it because I just know the modern MCU is just not going to make another good movie for a while. I do think we're eventually going to get good Marvel movies again, but what would be the cost to making good Marvel movies again? That would be the question. Goodbye.